Is the Qur'an the Word of God? Part 4. Addressing the mind. The Holy Qur'an proceeded to prove the existence of the universe creator and to clarify and consolidate the belief in the souls. A mental path that is consistent and in harmony with and complementary to the innate discourse. In Surah 52 Al-Tur, the Qur'an responds to those who deny the existence of their creator. Or were they created by nothing, or were they the creators of themselves? 35. Or did they create the heavens and the earth? Rather, they are not certain. 36. Or have they the depositories, containing the provision, of your Lord? Or are they the controllers of them? A call to reflection. We will show them our signs in the horizons and within themselves until it becomes clear to them that it is the truth. But is it not sufficient concerning your Lord that he is, over all things, a witness? 53, Quran 41 Fussilat. Self-reflection. And in yourselves. Then will you not see? 21, Quran 51 Adh Dariyat. Contemplation of the universe. Do they not look into the realm of the heavens and the earth and everything that Allah has created and think that perhaps their appointed time has come near? So in what statement hereafter will they believe? 185, Quran 7 Al-Araf. And said, have they not considered what things Allah has created? Their shadows incline to the right and to the left, prostrating to Allah, while they are humble. 48, Quran 16 and Null. Contemplation of the creatures of the universe. Then do they not look at the camels, how they are created? 17, and at the sky, how it is raised. 18, and at the mountains, how they are erected. 19, and at the earth, how it is spread out. 20, so remind, O Muhammad, you are only a reminder. 21, Quran 88 Al-Ghashiyah. Error challenge. Dr. Gary Miller, Abdulahad Omar, a mathematician, Christian theologian, and former missionary, says in his book, The Amazing Quran. Every author begins his book by apologizing for the mistakes that occurred in his book, and there is no author in the world who dares to write a book and then say, this book is free of errors, but the Quran and, on the contrary, begins in Surat al-Baqarah with the challenge of being free of errors. This is the book about which there is no doubt, a guidance for those conscious of Allah. 2, Quran 2 al-Baqarah. The case of authorship applies to all holy books of people of other faiths, except for the Quran, for example. Many writers continued in writing the Old Testament. The last was the writer of 2nd Maccabees Conclusion, 1539-40, the last book of the Catholic Old Testament. He said, which if I have done well, and as it becometh the history, it is what I desired, but if not so perfectly, you must pardon me. It is always harmful to drink wine, or always water, but pleasant to use sometimes the one, and sometimes the other, so if the speech is always nicely framed, it will not be grateful to the readers. But here it shall be ended. In an interpretation of the book Songs of Songs, we read in its introduction. Who composed it and when? Why was it collected? If it is true that its presence in the Bible law was only a coincidence, how did it gain its place? It even found its role in the Jewish Passover rank at a later time. It's difficult to determine the page order of the book with repeated verses, topics, pictures, and situations. As for the New Testament, it is just written stories. Luke says in the introduction to his Gospel, 1:1-4. Many have undertaken to draw up an account of the things that have been fulfilled among us, just as they were handed down to us by those who from the first were eyewitnesses and servants of the word. With this in mind, since I have carefully investigated everything from the beginning, I too decided to write an orderly account for you, most excellent Theophilus. so that you may know the certainty of the things you have been taught. This text states, Luke reminds people to compose stories about, biography, of Jesus, their point of view. Luke's goal was to write a letter to his friend Theophilus, to know the certainty of the words. Luke declares that he did not see Christ, as he is only the reporter. God said. Then do they not reflect upon the Qur'an? If it had been from any other than Allah, they would have found within it much contradiction. 82, Quran 4 An-Nisa. Gary Miller says after reading this verse from Surah An-Nisa, one of the well-known scientific principles at present is the principle of finding errors or investigating errors in theories until they are proven correct. The amazing thing is that the Quran has been calling Muslims and non-Muslims to find errors in it 14 centuries ago. Revealing the secrets. Researcher Miller says in his book, The Amazing Quran, that he had expected to find an ancient book written 14 centuries ago about the desert. But he discovered that this book contains things that are not found in any other book in this world. One of the stories that fascinated Dr. Miller and considered them miracles is the story of the Prophet, with his uncle, Abu Lahab. Miller says, this man, Abu Lahab, hated Islam very much. 10 years before the death of Abu Lahab, God revealed a surah called Al-Masad, which states that Abu Lahab will go to hell. In other words, Abu Lahab will not enter Islam. Within 10 years, all that Abu Lahab had to do to eliminate the call of Muhammad was to come in front of the people and say, Muhammad says that I will not become Muslim and will enter hell, but now I declare that I want to convert to Islam and become a Muslim. But Abu Lahab did not do that and did not become Muslim. He did not even pretend to do so, while he had the opportunity to destroy Islam in 1 minute. This is a piece of evidence that the Quran is not the words of Muhammad. Still, it is a revelation from the one who knows the unseen and knows that Abu Lahab will not surrender himself to God. Otherwise, how could Muhammad know that? And for someone to put up this dangerous challenge, this has only one meaning, which is that the Quran is a revelation from God.
Otherwise, how could Muhammad?
Future predicting. God says in Surah 30, Al-Rum. The Byzantines have been defeated, 2, in the nearest land. But they, after their defeat, will overcome. 3, within 3 to 9 years. To Allah belongs the command before and after. And that day the believers will rejoice, 4, in the victory of Allah. He gives victory to whom He wills, and He is the exalted in might, the merciful. 5. This promise was fulfilled with the triumph of the Romans, precisely as it came in verse. Information challenge. Miller says, without any doubt, there is a unique and amazing orientation in the Quran that is not found anywhere else because the Quran gives you certain information and says to you, you did not know it before. That is from the news of the unseen which we reveal to you, O Muhammad. And you were not with them when they cast their pens as to which of them should be responsible for Mary. Nor were you with them when they disputed. 44, Quran 3 Al-Imran. That is from the news of the unseen which we reveal to you, O Muhammad. You knew it not, neither you nor your people, before this. So be patient, indeed, the best outcome is for the righteous. 49, Quran 11 Hud. Miller says, there is no book in the so-called religious scriptures that speaks in this way. All the other books are a collection of information, and they always tell you if you want more information, you can read Book X or Book X because this information came from it. Unlike the Quran, which supplies the reader with the knowledge. Then he tells you this is new information and even asks you to verify it if you are hesitant about the authenticity of the Quran in a way that cannot be from a human mind. The astonishing thing about the matter is the people of Makkah at that time. Time after time, they used to hear it and hear the challenge that this is new information that was not Muhammad, and his people know it, despite that they did not say this is not new. Rather we know it. They never said, we know from where Muhammad came with this information. Compatibility of the Quran with modern science. The Big Bang. In his research on the Quran, Miller stops at verse 30 of Surah 21 Al-Anbiya. Have those who disbelieved not considered that the heavens and the earth were a joined entity, and we separated them and made from water every living thing? Then will they not believe? Miller says. This verse is exactly the subject of the scientific research that won the Nobel Prize in 1973 AD. It was about the Big Bang Theory, which states that the existing universe results from a huge explosion from which the universe occurred, including the heavens and planets. The patch is the coherent thing in the while the hernia is the thing that disintegrates. It is inconceivable that Muhammad in the desert reached this scientific fact 14 centuries ago if God had not told him that. Water is the main component of a cell. In the last part of the same verse, which is talking about water as a source of life, Dr. Gary Miller says. In the last part of the same verse, which talks about water as a source of life, Dr. Gary Miller says. This is a matter of wonders, as modern science has recently proven that the cell is made up of cytoplasm, which represents 80% of it, and the cytoplasm is mainly composed of water. We conclude with the testimony of the German Orientalist, Dr. Chimps, quoting from the book, By the Quran, Those Embraced Islam, pg. 49, which acknowledges the divinity of the Quranic source and the validity of the prophecy of Muhammad, where he said, "And you may be surprised by the confession of a European man like me in this way. I studied the Quran and found in it those lofty meanings, precise systems, and wonderful eloquence, the like of which I have never found in my life." One sentence of it sings about books. This is undoubtedly the greatest miracle that has come to Muhammad on the authority of his Lord. Conclusion. I had once listened, to a summary that refutes the misconception promoted by non-Muslims that Muhammad is the author of the Quran, which says, "The Quran is a book of over 600 pages. It covers a wide range of topics. It was revealed gradually over 23 years. So, if a man had written the Quran, we would already have had several problems. If you are going to write a book like the Quran, and claim that it is from God, you shouldn't make any mistakes. The book should not contradict itself, and you should keep its message consistent gradually over 23 years. The grammar must be the same, and the style must remain the same. If the Quran is not from God, he should write it himself. This means that in the middle of the Arabian desert, without books and being illiterate himself, he should know the law, civil rights, criminal rights, family rights, labor rights, military rights, personal injury rights, real estate law, finance law. He should know the stories without books and with little Christians' presence in Mecca. He should know the histories and events of the previous prophets' lives, the history of nations past, religious practices of other religions. He would have to know them well enough to offer additional information and details not found in these books. He should know how to develop a nation or a government, how to perform the worship and the purification, invent dietary laws, psychology, education of the children, arbitration wealth, finance and business, science, embryology, oceanography, plate tectonics, cloud formation, UV rays, plants, mountains, the bees, the human brain, the Big Bang, the expansion of the universe. And for the book to be complete, it should have the knowledge of the future, so that he can write the things that will happen in the coming years. He would make sure that he could travel in time to insert his name in the Bible. If he claims that what he wrote is from God, there must not be a single contradiction, nor a solution that does not work. He must also keep his emotions and his personal life outside of the book. The book should not reflect the happy or sad times in his life. The text should not become optimistic nor pessimistic as if a human had written it. But if you read the whole Quran, you do not feel his emotions. When his wife is dead, when his daughters are married, when his grandchildren are born, when he was victorious and when he was defeated, For anyone who examines the Quran, it becomes clear that a man in the desert 1,400 years ago cannot write such a book. Would it be if it was a committee of brilliant thinkers, a secret society tasked with correcting and updating, and rewriting the Quran over the years? Their job would be to make sure that the book seems accurate and contains no errors or contradictions. And it is constantly updated to be following science and the evolving world. If this were the case, there would be other versions of the Quran due to changes and improvements. We would have newly edited versions and old versions with errors. You would be able to detect the different styles of writing and the influences of other authors. So, a man didn't write it, and a committee didn't edit it, so where did it come from? What about the possibility of intelligent devils dictating and influencing a man to write the Quran? What kind of devil calls for good behavior, worship God, honoring Jesus and his mother, donating to the poor, and warning people about the devil? No matter how you analyze the Quran, you will come to a clear conclusion: it could not have been written by a committee, a devil, or the Prophet Muhammad. Since Muhammad can't have written it, it means that he was telling the truth that the Quran is from God. If it is from God, it means that he was a true prophet, and his message must be listened to and respected, and its complete acceptance of the doctrine, laws, and provisions.